Report number 5. Filed by a freight dispatcher 11 years on the night desk of a regional trucking company. Her statement arrived with a second document, a company incident form half completed, abandoned, she explains, mid-sentence, 6 years before her statement was written. We will come back to that form. We will show you exactly where the sentence stops.
Channel 19 is never quiet, exactly. There's always somebody out there. Some trucker, 3 hours from anywhere, talking to keep awake. That was the whole comfort of the job. Somebody is always out there. Until that was the problem.
A dispatch office at night is an aquarium you watch from inside. Screens with slow-moving dots. Coffee going cold by the third monitor. And under everything, Channel 19, the CB band, murmuring like water, road talk, weather talk, the long, tired poetry of men keeping themselves awake at 70 miles an hour. 11 years had taught her to hear it without listening, the way you hear your own house. At 2:40 in the morning, a voice surfaced through the static. Calm. Worn smooth. Reading mile markers the way some drivers do, half to dispatch, half to themselves. Mile 281, mile 282. Standard. Familiar, even. The voice signed off each marker with a call sign, boxcar. And that was the wrong part. She knew boxcar. Everyone on that desk knew boxcar. And nobody had heard boxcar in 6 years. She pulled the archive because her hands needed a task. Boxcar.d. Ray Delgado. Flatbed driver, 22 years with the company. File closed in 2020, and not closed the soft way. Ray Delgado went off the road on this same highway at night, in fog, 11 miles short of home. She knew the file without opening it because she had been on the desk that night. His last call had come to her headset. The voice on 19 kept reading. 283. 284. She timed the gaps between markers, because arithmetic is what a dispatcher does with fear. 58 seconds, 59. Highway speed. 60 miles an hour, steady as a metronome. She checked the numbers against the map and felt the room get smaller. The markers were real. They ran along the state highway in ascending order, and they were counting toward her town. Toward the terminal. Toward the desk she was sitting at.
People ask if the voice scared me. The voice was familiar. What scared me was the spacing. 58 seconds, 59. Like clockwork. Dead things shouldn't hold a speed limit. Holding a speed limit means you're going somewhere.
Protocol for radio traffic from closed files does not exist, so she broke the protocol that did. She keyed the base microphone and said it the way she had said it 1,000 nights. Boxcar, this is dispatch. Come back? The reading did not stop. 289. But something in the channel changed. The static began to thin. With every marker, the voice came through cleaner, closer, as if the distance itself were being read away, mile by mile. Then other voices broke in, live ones, drivers she knew were on the road that night. Dispatch, who are you talking to? Say again? Channels clear. She asked them to confirm traffic on 19. One by one, they came back. Nothing but you, dispatch. For every radio on that highway, the channel was empty. For her headset, a dead man was 4 miles out and closing. Mile 307. She didn't need the map for that one. 307 is the terminal exit. Hers. After 307 there are no more markers because after 307 the road stops being a road and becomes a parking lot and a desk and a woman with a headset. The voice paused. A long breath of clean, silent channel. And then, for the first time in 6 years, Boxcar said something that was not a number. Dispatch. I got a delivery I never finished. Look at the form. She looked down. On the desk, square under the lamp, lay an incident form. Company Standard, 2020 issue. She had not taken it out of any drawer. She recognized her own handwriting on it, filled in, line by line, exactly to the middle. It stopped where it had stopped 6 years ago, mid-sentence, at the words. Driver reported his position as mile. The night his radio went quiet, she had never written the number. There had been no number to write.
307, dispatch.org. Write it down. I've been carrying it a long time.
She wrote it. Mile 307, in the blank her own hand had left open for 6 years. The pen felt ordinary. The moment did not. Through the headset came a sound she still cannot describe on paper. She settles for calling it the sound a man makes setting down something heavy at the end of a very long carrot. And then Channel 19 came back. All of it. All at once. Road talk, weather talk, somebody laughing at somebody's joke from 300 miles away, the whole tired, living murmur of the highway, switched on like a light, as if the channel had been hers alone all night, as if it had been cleared for one delivery.
The company could never close his run. The file was incomplete, one field short. 6 years. So here's what I don't say out loud at work. Was he driving all that time, or was he parked at mile marker 280, waiting for me to finish my paperwork? Because those are very different 6 years. And both of them are my fault.
The exhibit. The company, to its credit, sent the form for document analysis, ink chemistry, both halves of the interrupted line. The finding, in writing, the sentence begun in 2020 and the sentence finished this year were written with the same ink. Chemically identical. Same batch. A batch, the manufacturer confirms, discontinued in 2021. The pen she used that night came from a supply order placed last month. The company has filed the run as completed, delivery confirmed. This channel files it differently. Unresolved. Before the next report, a fragment. This archive holds items too small to file and too wrong to discard. Fragment 01.ie. A voicemail, recovered from an answering service decommissioned 9 years ago. 31 seconds long. The caller does not speak. For 31 seconds there is only a dial tone, recorded somehow from the caller's side of the line. The line was open. Someone dialed, waited, and listened to the dial tone breathe. The number they dialed has never existed. The voicemail box that received it belongs to no account. We are including 3 seconds of it. This fragment remains unprocessed. Report number 6. Filed by a tower maintenance technician, one of the people who climb the mast your phone depends on, and whose names you will never know. His statement is the only one in this archive with an exact runtime, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. That number is not a detail. That number is the report. Nothing in what follows is a coincidence, including how long it takes to tell.
People think a dead zone is where the signal ends. They're wrong. Signal doesn't end. Physics doesn't work that way. A dead zone is where it goes instead. I used to say that as a joke, to rookies. I want it on record that I've stopped saying it.
The call-out was routine, a remote tower, post-storm inspection, the kind of job you do at night, because the frequencies are quieter and the paperwork is due by morning. He knew this site. Gravel access road, 40 minutes of nothing, then the mast standing against the stars like a stitch in the sky. The ritual never changes, harness, gauges, the service handset that links him to the network operations center. The long climb in the dark with a headlamp making a small moving room out of the night. The site sits in a natural dead zone at ground level. Every tech knows it, every tech has stopped noticing it. Which is why the first wrong thing that night was small. His personal phone, lying on the passenger seat, showed 1 bar of signal. In 11 years, at the base of that particular tower, it had never shown any. 1 bar, and 1 notification. A voicemail. Received 2 minutes earlier, while he was unloading gear. The sender. His own number. He stood by the open car door and played it, because at that point it was still a curiosity. A network hiccup, a duplicated packet, the kind of ghost engineers explain to each other with hand gesture. What came out of the speaker was his own voice. Comdate. Procedural. Dictating an inspection report for this tower. Wind sensor at the 120 mark non-responsive. Recommend replacement. Guy wire tension at anchor 3 reading low, torqued to specification. Corrosion at junction 11, photographed and logged. His voice, his cadence, his shorthand, a complete professional walkthrough of an inspection he had not yet begun. He checked the duration of the message. 11 minutes, 40 seconds. He checked the timestamp again. Then he stood very still in the dark for a while, listening to the gravel settle.
The frightening part wasn't that it was my voice. Voices can be faked, fine. The frightening part was that it was good work. Careful. Right order, right calls. It was exactly the inspection I would do. It's exactly the inspection I did do after.
He made the sane decision. He put the gear back, sat behind the wheel, and reached for the ignition, and the phone lit again. New voicemail. Same voice. Same report, line for line, delivered with the same patience, but with one line added, spoken in the flat tone of an appended note. And the technician attempted to leave the site prior to inspection. Delay logged. Restarting. Before he could set the phone down, it buzzed. 2 new messages. Then 3. He played the newest one. The report had grown by seconds, and the new seconds were about him. The technician is currently seated in the vehicle. The technician is holding the handset in his right hand. The dome light is on. He hadn't noticed until his own voice told him. Somewhere between the tower and his number, something was doing more than predicting his inspection. It was minuting the delay, and it did not intend to file an incomplete report. He is not a superstitious man, he is a procedural one, and somewhere in the third replay he understood the message in procedural terms. It was not a prophecy. It was a report that had already been filed, and reality, for whatever reason, was expected to match it. So, he matched it. He climbed with his own voice in his earpiece like a foreman. Guy wire at anchor 3, low, exactly as dictated, torque to spec. Wind sensor at 120, dead, exactly as dictated swap. Junction 11, corroded, photographed, logged. 40 meters of night below his boots, and his own calm voice always half a step ahead. And the work was clean, and the work was correct. And he has never in his life wanted so badly for a report to contain a mistake. At the 11-minute mark, the voice said, "Inspection complete. 1 discrepancy remains." And then it stopped dictating findings and dictated a time instead. 3:47. He looked at his watch. 3:44. The voice said, "Be on the ground before 3:47. After 3:47, this report describes a different inspection."
3:47, Junction 11. You do not want to be the discrepancy.
40 meters of mast, safety clip descent, standard time, 5 minutes if you're sharp. He was on the gravel in 2 minutes 50, and he does not remember most of them. At 3:47 exactly, he was watching the phone because by then, the phone was the only clock he trusted. Junction 11 flashed. A short, sharp electrical fault at the exact point on the structure where, 90 seconds earlier, his hands had been. The discharge scorched a half-meter streak down the steel. The report, he understood, had been accurate to the end. Both versions of it.
The report saved my life. I understand that part. Here's the part I don't. The voice knew about 3:47 before I ever climbed. Which means somewhere there's the other version. The inspection where I didn't come down in time. Somebody dictated that one too. In whose voice?
The exhibits, in closing. Carrier records confirm every voicemail. His number to his number, each exactly 11 minutes 40 seconds. All routed through a single cell site. The tower itself. The first message entered the network 9 minutes before his truck reached the access road. And the Network Operations Center confirms, in writing, that no inspection of that tower was scheduled that night. The work order he was dispatched on does not exist in their system. The work, however, was done, and done well. Unresolved. A quiet one.